Hey everyone! So, if you've ever felt like you're just drowning in repetitive spreadsheet tasks, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to conquer that digital drudgery by demystifying one of Excel's most powerful but often overlooked tools, macros.
So does this sound familiar? That same report lands on your desk, and you just know you're about to spend the next hour clicking the same buttons, formatting the same cells, and running the exact same calculations you did last week and the week before that. It is time to break that cycle for good.
Okay, let's paint a picture here. Imagine you work at a bank, and every single week a new consumer loan report gets spat out of some database. And it's a mess, right? You gotta change the fonts, format headers, turn numbers into currency, nuke the columns you don't need, maybe even create new calculated columns. It is tedious work, and honestly, it's the absolute perfect job for a macro. So what's the fix for this weekly headache? Well, let me introduce you to your new personal assistant for spreadsheets.
So what in the world is a macro really? Well, in the simplest terms, it's a recording. Think of it like a recipe that you teach Excel just one time. After that, it can perform that entire sequence of tasks for you perfectly every single time with just a single click.
And we're not just talking about making things bold or changing colors here. Oh no. Macros can record pretty much any move you make. Typing text, clicking commands on the ribbon, formatting huge sections of data, importing data from other places. It can even reach into other Office apps, like opening Outlook to email that report you just formatted.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Ugh, this sounds like coding. I'm out. But here's the absolute best part. You do not need to know a single line of code to get started. Seriously. Thanks to this amazing built-in tool called the Macro Recorder, if you can do the task manually, you can automate it. It's that simple.
Okay, enough talk. Let's get our hands dirty and actually walk through the steps to record your very first macro.
The tools that we need are hiding on a special tab called the Developer tab, which, for whatever reason, Excel hides from you by default. So our first mission, should you choose to accept it, is to make it visible.
Don't worry, this is a super simple one-time setup. You just head to File, then go to Options. In the window that pops up, click on Customize Ribbon. Then, over on the right-hand side, you'll see a list of all the main tabs. Just find Developer, check that little box next to it, click OK, and boom! It will magically appear in your Excel ribbon, ready for action.
With our brand new tab in place, you are ready to go. On that Developer tab, you're going to see a button that says Record Macro. This is where the magic begins. As soon as you click Record, you'll get this little dialog box. This is your mission control. First things first, give your macro a descriptive name, like format_weekly report. Just remember, spaces aren't allowed, so use an underscore to separate words. You can also add a description, which I highly, highly recommend so you actually remember what this thing does a few weeks from now. Okay, now for the shortcut key option. You can assign a keyboard shortcut, which is cool, but you gotta be careful. If you use something common, like say Control-Z, you will literally lose the ability to undo. So here's the pro tip. Always use a combination like Control plus Shift plus a letter. That way you're not accidentally overriding a default shortcut you use all the time. Trust me on this one. The moment you click OK, that's it. Excel is watching. It's recording every single click, every key you press. So just perform your sequence of tasks smoothly and precisely. Format those cells, delete that column, create that formula. And when you're all done, you just go back to that Developer tab and click Stop Recording. And that is it. You've just created your first macro. All right, you've recorded your macro? Awesome. But now we need to talk about how to use it, and this is super important. How to save it correctly so you don't lose all that great work. So, the next time that messy report shows up, you just head to the Developer tab and click the Macros button. This opens up a list of all the macros in your workbook. All you have to do is select the one you want from the list, click Run, and just sit back and watch Excel do all that boring work for you in seconds. It is so satisfying. Okay, big warning here, and you really need to listen to this part. The undo command, good old Control-Z, does not work on macros. I repeat, you can't undo a macro. Once you run it, those changes are permanent. So the golden rule is to always work on a copy of your file or at least save a backup before you run a new macro for the first time. Here's another crucial detail. Because your workbook is different now, it has code living inside it, you can't just save it like a normal .xlsx file. If you try, Excel will actually warn you and then strip out the macro, and all your recording work will be gone forever. You've got to use a special file type.
So when you go to save, make sure you hit Save As. In that Save As type drop-down menu, don't just pick the standard Excel workbook. You need to scroll down a bit and select Excel Macro-Enabled Workbook. You'll see it has the .xlsm file extension. This is the only way to make sure your macro gets saved right along with your file.
So you've already covered the basics, which is awesome, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's take a quick peek at a couple of ways you can really unlock some macro superpowers. Okay, what if you create a macro that's just so useful, so amazing, you wish you could use it in any Excel file you ever open? Well, you can. When you first record it, instead of storing it in this workbook, choose Personal Macro Workbook from that dropdown. Excel saves this to a special, hidden file on your computer that loads every time you start Excel. It's basically your own custom toolkit of macros that are always ready to go. Ever wondered what's happening behind the curtain? If you click on Macros and then the Edit button, you can see the actual VBA code that Excel wrote for you. No, don't panic. You don't have to touch it or understand it, but it's good to know it's just a text version of your actions. A great tip is to add comments to yourself by starting a line with a single apostrophe. You can leave notes explaining what each part does, which is incredibly helpful if you come back to it months later. So there you have it. You now have the power to literally automate the most boring, repetitive parts of your spreadsheet work. The only question left is, what's the first thing you're going to automate? Think about that one report, that one weekly task that just drives you crazy. What is it? That's your first target.